Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of the Blindside League podcast. I'm your host, DK, and today I'm going to be going over our Super Bowl winner, the offseason, which consists of free agency and the draft, and I'm going to give you our winner, loser of the free agency, and our winner and loser of the draft. And then I'm going to spotlight a couple of the rookies that came in, the top offensive and defensive player. The Chiefs and the Cards were both 15-1, and they both went to the Super Bowl to face off against each other. It was a very good defensive battle. In the fourth quarter, the Chiefs and the Cardinals held each other to a goal line stand where they both had to kick field goals. After the Chiefs kicked the field goal with about 30 seconds left, the Cardinals tried to drive down the field to repeat as the Super Bowl winners, but they threw an interception, and the Chiefs were able to win. It was definitely a fantastic game. Both of these teams, like I said, were 15-1. They were the best in the AFC and the NFC. They proved it all year, and they gave us an amazing game to watch as the last game of the year being the Super Bowl. So congratulations to the Chiefs and their success on this past season and winning the Super Bowl. They stopped the Cardinals from winning back-to-back Super Bowls. So the Chiefs are going to try to do back-to-back themselves, and they got a long stretch and a long road to get there, that's for sure. Now on to free agency. Free agency consisted of a lot of older guys, a lot of guys that were released from their teams to make cap space because of the fact that they have regressed and they've lost a little bit of their speed and agility and able to make big plays on the field. Now, another man's trash, another man's treasure, and the Saints proved that. The Saints were able to pick up Patrick Peterson, 31, Jamie Collins, 31, Tavon Austin, who's 29, Travis Kelce's 31, Jabal Shearer is 32, and Malcolm Butler is 31. So they went in and they picked the best, basically the best guys that were in free agency, even though they were all long in the tooth as far as age is concerned. They signed Patrick Peterson, who I think was the best available free agent, to a one-year, $19 million contract. Being 31, he still has the ability to cover anybody, man, zone. He can play press coverage. He can blitz. He can do it all. He has lost a little bit of speed and athleticism, but he can still play really, really good defense. And they were happy to bring him. Also, with Jamie Collins, he signed a one-year, $12.24 million deal. So I'm sure most of the guys that he signed were on one-year deals. So it's either win it all now or retool next year. And from the looks of the talent that they have on the Saints, they're going to have to retool for next year because I don't feel that these guys are going to bring them the necessary team chemistry that they need. I mean, they're all older and they're all veterans, but still, they need some youth to be able to fill out this team, and they didn't do that. But they did win free agency because they brought the best available guys in to New Orleans. The losers of free agency were the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals released Allen Hurns. He was their best receiver. He regressed a lot, and he was getting older as well. And they have some talent at receiver. They wasn't able to sign one of the top free agents in free agency. They did sign Jackson Gabriel, who I believe is 26 years old, 25, 26. He has great athleticism. He can get anywhere on the field. He's still young. His hands aren't that great, but I'm pretty sure that the Bengals coach can coach him up very, very well. With that being said, the Bengals do have 11 receivers on the depth chart. So if you have 11 receivers, then that means you don't have a number one receiver. They're looking to Boyd to take the reins, and they do have a couple other guys. There are big guys, 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" guys that are on the team that he's looking to, kind of throw the ball up to or use as red zone targets. But I still believe the Bengals were the loser because they wasn't able to get a quality receiver. You had guys like Tavon Austin, who the New Orleans Saints picked up. And you also had Devontae Parker out there. And I feel like he should have kind of broke the bank for Devontae Parker. On to the draft. The draft, if you were drafting for linebackers, this was the draft to get them. There were plenty of linebackers, a plethora of linebackers in the draft. You had anything from outside pass rushers who were good in coverage, good athleticism, to pass rushers. You had middle linebackers, the same as the outside linebackers, could cover the field, could make any tackle. Like, this was a linebacker draft. Other than that, every other position wasn't as deep as linebacker. The winners of the free agency, I will give to the Packers. The Packers had the fifth overall, 23rd, and the fifth overall in the second round, and they were able to pick up some really really good talent. With the fifth pick in the first draft, the Packers were able to pick up Muhasabi German. He was from Oregon, and he's a great pass rusher. He's able to come off the edge and cause problems for the offense. With the 23rd pick, they picked up Lamarcus Stuvence. He is a 6'6" receiver out of Ole Miss. He's a big time red zone target. He doesn't have all the speed in the world, but he's able to jump over smaller cornerbacks in the red zone or anywhere on the field. I mean, he's 6'6". I mean, there's no stopping that guy whenever he's jumping up in the air. And lastly, they got Nathan Joyce. He was the fifth pick in the second round from Notre Dame. He's a prototypical quarterback, 6'6" with a good arm. He lacks a little bit in accuracy, but it's nothing that the Green Bay Packers coaching staff can't do to coach him up. So the Green Bay Packers, in my opinion, were the winners of this draft. The losers of the draft, even though they were the winners of free agency, were the New Orleans Saints. This team lacks in youth. This was a draft that they really needed to bring in some youthful guys. Their roster is not good. And even though they picked up a lot of free agencies and free agency, they were all older and all 1-year deals. So once this year is over, all these guys are going to be free agents again, and he's either going to have to re-sign them with them getting old and regressing more, or he's going to have to bring in new free agency talent. And a lot of guys are not releasing younger guys that can come in and help his team and fill up his roster as a whole really quickly. So the New Orleans Saints coach and owner needs to really look into stocking up on draft picks, trying to get as many draft picks as he can this coming up draft, because his team is very old, and the youth that he does have isn't very good. So the loser of the draft will be the New Orleans Saints. Now to look at the spotlight the draft and talk about who are my top offensive and defensive players. The top offensive player was the Browns running back, Tamani Cockerham. He's the seventh pick in the first round from University of Georgia. This guy has super speed. He had the fastest combine 40 of all the running backs, and it shows on the field. This guy can fly. He's elusive. He can catch the ball off the backfield. Tamani Cockerham is an absolute beast. This guy's really, really good. And as the new owner of the Minnesota Vikings, I had the opportunity to play against him last night. And he's a force. When he gets to the outside, there's no telling what's going to happen. So you got to contain this guy and make him run in between tackles instead of outside the tackles. As for my defensive player, it'll be the middle linebacker from the Broncos, Aldrin Scandrick. He was the first pick in the 18th. He was the 18th pick in the first round out of Baylor, and he was an absolute steal. Superstar development, fast, can tackle, can hit, can cover. This guy is a land shark on the football field. I would compare him to the next Ray Lewis. This guy is absolutely incredible, and I don't know how he got past 17 other teams to fall to the Broncos other than Tamani Cockerham, because running backs with speed like that are a dime a dozen, and also Cockerham has superstar development also. So the Browns are definitely winning with that running back. But back to Scandrick. For all the guys who picked linebackers before them, because I believe there were 6 other linebackers picked before him, and the Broncos struck gold by drafting him. This guy is an amazing specimen, an amazing athlete, and he's going to help this defense throughout the future for the Broncos. With that being said, this is our first podcast for the Blindside CFM League. Make sure you guys follow Blindside CFM on Twitter at Blindside CFM. We got a lot of guys out there putting out content as far as Twitter is concerned. The commissioner for our league is retweeting everything, so make sure you guys check that out. I'm gonna try to drop a podcast every couple of weeks. I'm a very, very busy man, and I'm gonna do my best to stay on top of everything. But you know how it is when you're a busy man. There's only so much you can do. But make sure you guys like, subscribe, and if you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section. We thank you very much for listening to our podcast. Once again, my name is DK, and y'all have a wonderful day.